Hello everybody, we're now going to be looking at visions. So visions is very important because, when some people are talking about murder or stealing or committing some of these crimes, they say, God told me to steal this or etc. So a vision is an event in which God or something about God is seen or observed. God could also be the divine, so just say God, it's a divine being, or gods. So visions are divided into three categories: corporal visions, imaginative, and intellectual visions. So intellectual visions are kind of like in the mind, kind of like that, like Teresa or Avila, who said she had a vision of Jesus even though she could not discern the form of the vision. Like she was aware Jesus was there, even though you might be awake, you might be asleep, but it's in the head. It's kind of like intellectual. The second is a corporal vision, kind of like Saint Bernadette at Lourdes said she saw Mary in the form of a human being. That's kind of a corporal vision because yeah, it's a corporal vision because you may be asleep, you may be awake, but then you visualize this person in a physical being. That's why it's a corporal vision. And then the third is called imaginative, and this refers to visions that occur in dreams. So, for example, in Matthew 1, when Joseph was engaged to Mary, he has a dream telling him not to be afraid because she's pregnant, like the baby is God's child and everything. So that's an imaginative vision. So those are the three types of visions. So when thinking about this, there's also voices, since we're talking about visions and voices. So in voices, you remember when Jesus was getting baptized, there was a voice coming from heaven saying, "This is my son with whom I'm pleased with." So that's kind of hearing voices. And there are three features about a voice that shows the presence of God. So first, when you hear a voice, it should show the presence of God. Secondly, the voice should communicate and reveal something about God, which means it's noetic, and then it's also a revelation from God. So three things: it shows the presence of God, it's a method of communication from God, and it reveals something about God or about God's character. And the voice is authoritative. It's not just something like, "Hey, wake up and pray." It's kind of wake up, very authoritative. Um, So the one we're talking about Jesus being baptized, where God said, "You're my son, with whom I'm pleased with," that's found in Mark 1, verse 11. Anyway, if you want to look at other types of, religious experiences to deal with voices, you can read more on one of Augustine's conversations in Confessions. He has this dialogue thing where he was asking himself things and he hears voices about children and everything. Anyway, what we must ask ourselves now when thinking about visions and voices is, are they reliable? Are they really from God? Do they provide evidence for God's existence? For example, a serial killer can come and say, "I heard God's voice telling me to kill somebody, to kill these children." Will you trust what he's saying? You know, does it prove God exists? For example, I, a devoted Christian, spend my time in a bedroom praying 6 to 6, you know, always praying, and then I say, "I heard the voice of God." Does that mean God really exists? We need to ask ourselves such questions, you know. But then, obviously, when thinking about this, you may also say that visions and voices may prove God's existence depending on what the outcome is, the effect it has on somebody else. But we'll discuss this in later videos. So join me now in my next video when we're going to be looking at conversion. Thank you.